We are going to turn it all around.
Change is certain.
And deliver the change and leadership that America deserves.
I love our country and I believe in our people.
Get ready to vote.
You can't take anything for granted because we haven't had an election like this.
But you have to get out, you have to vote, we have to get out there.
Use your voice and your vote.
Hello and welcome to Falcon Weekly. I'm Brianna Rose.
And I'm Adam Pelly. Thank you so much for joining us. After months of campaigning, we are only a few hours away from voting for the next President of the United States. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are on their last campaign push through battleground states on the last day of the 2016 election season.
The most recent CNN poll of polls has Clinton with a 4-point lead, but the race is tight and will depend on voter turnout. Steve Nannis has a look at the last day on the campaign trail.
On the final day of campaigning, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump hitting the trail at breakneck speed and focused on key battlegrounds.
In Pennsylvania, it's all about Election Day.
Clinton campaigning today in the crucial toss-up of North Carolina, also going to Michigan and Pennsylvania, where Clinton's lead has narrowed in recent weeks. President Obama, one of Clinton's biggest assets on the trail, appearing in Michigan and North Carolina before joining Hillary Clinton, former President Bill Clinton, and the First Lady for a Philadelphia rally.
This is the last day of our campaign. Who would have believed this?
Trump hitting 5 states today. He'll be in Pennsylvania and Michigan, also Florida, North Carolina, and New Hampshire. Sunday night's bombshell from FBI Director James Comey, saying in a letter to Congress that they've completed their review of the newly discovered emails and found nothing to change their conclusions from July, that Hillary Clinton should not face criminal charges, has both campaigns reacting to the last-minute news.
We're glad to get that news, but not surprised.
Hillary Clinton should not even be allowed to run for the presidency of the United States. With what's happening with our justice, our country is a laughingstock.
With that news coming just a day and a half before polls open Tuesday, it's unclear how it will play in voters' minds. In Washington, I'm Steve Nannis.
Remember that polls open on Tuesday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
While many workers and students will have to figure out when they can make it to the polls, Election Day will be a paid holiday for thousands of workers across the U.S. this year. General Motors is one of the 7 companies that make Election Day a paid holiday. Other companies include Ford Motors, Square Hearst Publishing, Patagonia, Mattress Company, and Thrillist. Ford sent an email to workers telling them every vote counts. Outdoor clothing company Patagonia is closing all its retail stores, its headquarters in California, and distribution center in Nevada. There is no federal law requiring workers to get time off to vote, and state laws vary. With polls opening tomorrow for the 2016 presidential election, we have political science professor Dr. Scott Turner joining us to discuss the upcoming presidential election. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
So, from the latest polls, who do you think will become the next president of the United States?
Well, I just have to follow the polls. Right now, the polls do give Hillary Clinton the edge. But if you look at Nate Silver's projection model, which has been pretty accurate in the past, he still gives Trump about a 1 in 3 shot. So it's not over till it's over.
I think.
Go ahead.
Oh. I think a big question that everyone wants to know is, what is the appeal of Donald Trump? Why does he appeal to so many people?
So it's a good question because clearly he's caught fire with a certain segment of the voting public. Of course, he was already a known celebrity, and he kind of launched his campaign in 2015 with a kind of sort of an angry populist appeal to the people who are concerned about illegal immigration, and he just unlike a lot of other conventional politicians, he just sort of never apologized, never let up, and a lot of people have really responded to that sort of take no prisoners approach.
And so why do you think Hillary's emails are such a big deal to the voter population?
Well, the email controversy, it was subject to an FBI investigation. So that is a legitimate concern for voters. And of course, Clinton's Republican opponents have exploited that opportunity to the hilt to paint her as someone who's not trustworthy, who's potentially responsible for criminal activity. Of course, now she's been cleared of those charges by the FBI. But I think one interesting aspect of that issue is that I suspect that most voters really don't understand the controversy. They just know that something scandalous has been alleged, and they see Clinton, they see email, and that has had a negative connotation for her.
Okay. So how do you feel about possible young voters not coming out to vote because they feel like their vote doesn't count, or Alabama's already a red state, so what's the point?
Well, I would certainly encourage young voters and everyone to vote. I remember my first opportunity goes way back to 1984. That was the first year that I got to vote, and my roommate and I were actually of opposing political parties, but we were both engaged in the process, and this was 1984, and everyone knew that Ronald Reagan was going to be elected president, but we wanted to exercise our civic right and responsibility, and so we hopped in the car together and drove an hour from our campus to our hometown. We were both from the same hometown, and we went to the polling booths and cast opposing votes and canceled one another out, and then we got back in the car and drove back to campus. And so I've always remembered that. I was proud of that, and I voted in every election since, whether I thought that my single vote would actually make a difference or not. I think it's a very important freedom and responsibility for every citizen.
Well, and outside of that confusion, also Alabamians also have to vote for amendments other than just voting for a president. And I know there's a lot of controversy, and with some of the amendments being complex. And I know a lot of blogs have been saying that if you don't understand the amendments that you're voting for, to just vote no. Do you advise that that's a good voting technique?
Well, what I would recommend voting on the Alabama state constitutional amendments is we do have this magical tool called the internet, and so it makes it very, very convenient to research the amendments. You can go to al.com, and they have a voting guide, and they explain each one of the amendments. If you're a Democrat or you're a Republican, those parties are very eager to offer their advice on the amendments, and you can easily find their voting guides as well. So I would say either do your research and vote accordingly, or rather than vote no, I would say just don't vote. If you don't understand it, don't have a dog in that fight.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us and giving us that insight.
You're very welcome.
All right. Voters in 5 states will decide Tuesday whether marijuana should be legal for recreational use. Marijuana legalization bills are on the ballot in California, Massachusetts, Maine, Arizona, and Nevada. In 3 other states, voters will also decide whether it should be used for medical reasons. Pot is still illegal under federal law, but state laws have relaxed over the years. According to a Gallup poll released in August, the number of adults who smoked weed has nearly doubled in 3 years. It's currently legal to use recreational marijuana only in 4 states and in the District of Columbia.
If you're feeling stressed out by the election, you are far from alone. After a long and continuous political season, many Americans report anxiety, nervousness, and concern. If you're experiencing any of these emotions, today's Health Minute has some tips.
Republicans and Democrats are united about at least one thing. More than half of them say the 2016 election is a source of stress. That's according to the American Psychological Association. If you are experiencing election-related anxiety, here are some things you can do. Read enough to stay informed, but don't binge on political news. Take some time for activities that will recharge you. Concentrate on daily tasks and stick with healthy habits. Difficult as it may seem, try not to worry about the outcome of the vote. Instead, take action on issues that matter to you. While it's good to have meaningful, respectful discussions about political ideas, avoid talking about the election if there's a chance it will lead to conflict. And if an argument arises, know how and when to stop yourself. Remember, stress and anxiety are not productive. They have negative health effects and won't change the outcome of the vote. Speaking of which, the APA says voting itself can make you feel you're taking a proactive step, and that helps you cope with uncertainty. For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
Kids got a chance to vote for the next president, and the results may surprise you. Hillary Clinton came out on top in the Nickelodeon's Kids Pick the President contest. Clinton got 53% of the more than 900,000 votes cast. Donald Trump earned 36%, and Libertarian Gary Johnson got 11%. Nickelodeon markets its contest as entertainment mean to amplify kids' voices and opinions and raise their awareness of the electoral process. The TV network notes kids have correctly chosen the next president in 6 out of the 7 presidential elections.
Remember, there's more news online 24/7. Just search for Falcon Weekly on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to see more stories and news updates throughout the week.
In more election news, it may be our duty to vote, but your furry friends can take part in politics this year as well. We will tell you more coming up.
And is early Christmas decorating your cup of cheer, or does it get your tinsel in a tangle? We debate about if it is too soon to decorate for Christmas.
And later in Falcon Fever, we have highlights from the UM men's basketball team's exhibition matchup against the Auburn Tigers. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Falcon Weekly. Now it's time to take a look at some trending stories.
Joining us for the buzz are Hope Findley and John Wilson. So what have you got for us, Hope?
Well, it's been a long, sometimes angry, often divisive campaign, but there were also plenty of funny moments. And after all this, we could use a few laughs. Jeannie Mose highlights some of the funniest moments so far.
From the moment Donald Trump took an escalator to announce his candidacy, campaign 2016 has escalated into laughs. From awkward air kissing to sniffing to coughing.
Every time I think about Trump, I get allergic.
The Donald's not allergic to kids. He actually signed one, but threatened to reassign a crying baby.
Don't worry about that baby. I love babies.
A minute later...
Actually, I was only kidding. You can get the baby out of here.
And then there was Mini Trump.
Do you want to go back to them, or do you want to stay with Donald Trump?
Trump.
Crowd-pleasing answer till you realize Mini Trump parrots the last word he hears.
What's your name?
Name.
And then there was the childlike delight in balloons. Hill and Bill batted and kicked them.
It seemed like he'd seen balloons for the first time in his life. I mean, look at how delighted he is.
The Donald seemed delighted with his own pronunciation.
Nevada. Nobody says it the other way. It has to be Nevada.
Actually, Donald, wrong. This is right.
Nevada.
At one rally...
Hey, get this thing out of here, will you?
Trump attacked his teleprompter. He publicly humiliated...
Like this stupid mic.
...his microphone.
Stupid mic keeps popping.
Remember when Hillary barked into her mic? And then this happened at a Trump rally.
This is something you shouldn't do. What was that? Is that a dog? Uh-oh. It's Hillary.
When it comes to the insect vote, the Donald attracts mosquitoes.
Ooh, there was a mosquito. I don't want mosquitoes around me.
And Hillary appeals to flies.
Any way he chooses.
If only time would fly so we can get relief from the constant buzzing of the candidates.
I don't like mosquitoes.
Jeannie Mose, CNN, New York.
So, what do you guys think of the campaign so far? In lighthearted news, I guess.
I think that pretty much summed it up. It's been very entertaining.
I mean, from all of the campaigns, we get videos all the time from the debates. I mean, by far one of the funniest, I think, is when the fly was like landing on Hillary. Yes. Just because, I mean, at home I was sitting there, I was like, that's a fly on her, you know? What are some of y'all's favorite funny moments?
I would definitely say that this has been one of the most comical.
Yeah, for sure.
debate.
I think just even from the beginning, like when we found out who was running, I think it was all
Right.
kind of like, really? Like, okay,
Yeah.
where's Ashton Kutcher? Are we being punked? Like, come on.
But honestly, my favorite one so far has been Hillary barking.
Yeah.
That was my favorite.
For sure. Well, talking about barking, a dog spa in the Minneapolis area is selling election-themed poo bags. As you can imagine, the items have been getting a lot of attention. Donald Trump's is called the Republican bag, and Hillary Clinton's is the Demo Crap bag. Bubbly Paws has several locations, but the owner says they aren't keeping an official tally of which candidates' poo bags are selling better. Well, this is a first. So, I mean, what is your take on this? Petty. Petty. I mean, also, again, I think this is another great way to sum up this election.
Yeah.
I mean, with it being the day before the election, there's no better way. Just a good laugh.
Kind of wrong how they have his hair, though. I mean, that's wrong.
Well, no, I think they got it just right.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to take them seriously, honestly.
Yeah.
When you have stuff like this, just.
Yeah. But at least we're getting our furry friends involved, right? You know.
That's true.
Well, there's a great debate trending on social media, and this time it's not about Trump and Clinton. It's only been a week since we celebrated Halloween, but it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, both in retail stores and in many living rooms. Stores like Target and Walmart have already begun spreading the holiday cheer. Radio stations have started a Christmas music takeover, and many people have started setting up their trees and decorations. It begs the question, how early is too early to start decking the halls? So what do you guys think? I mean, it's November. Is it too early to start putting up your decorations?
See,
or
I'm different. My family and I, we like to wait until after Thanksgiving. It just feels so wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot online that people are like, you at least need to wait till after Remembrance Day or Veterans Day, just to honor the veterans, which I completely understand. But I'm not one of those people. I don't think it's a big deal to start setting up your Christmas decorations now.
Yeah.
But I'm also not one of those people like not in October. Definitely needs to be like mid to late November. So.
But I mean, I guess I don't know. I can't really talk because after Halloween, I started listening to Christmas music.
Oh yeah, so. it just gets you in the spirit, even though it's like 90 degrees in Alabama right now.
Right.
Doesn't really feel like Christmas, but What do you got? What about you?
I need some Thanksgiving dinner on my plate before I set up any lights or anything. Gotta have some chicken.
What about
chicken?
You, John?
Yes.
Chicken is all you think about?
Everything else too, but the chicken is the best.
Well, I'm excited. I love Christmas. I don't see anything wrong with it. It just gets you in the spirit sooner. It takes me a while to get into the Christmas spirit, so I would be one of the ones
Mr. Grinch.
Yeah. See, I have on green, so.
Move over, Juju, on that beat and dabbing. There's a new dance craze that's taking over the internet. The Mannequin Challenge has people freezing where they stand or sit for an extended period of time. The Montevallo track and field team got in on the fun, and students from across the country are also partaking in the challenge. And it doesn't stop there. Professional athletes, actors, and comedians are also uploading their mannequin challenges to social media. So, you guys, have you seen the Mannequin Challenge on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram?
I look forward to every one that comes out on Facebook every morning.
So, what's your favorite so far of those that have come out?
My favorite, I can't remember which gymnastics team. They may have been in high school, but that has been my favorite one. Like, I'm like, how do they balance?
Those girls
like flip over on a balance beam and just hold it.
And for the ones that are like working out, like how are they paused like in the middle of a pull up or a push up or something?
I would be like.
Yeah, it's amazing to me how like still they can stand. Like, are they breathing?
Right?
Do you breathe? Like,
my hands shake too bad for that. I think the first one I saw was the Montevallo's track team one, and I was like, did they just take a picture and kind of edit it and zoom in and out? And they were like, no.
I mean, I'm just wondering, like, how do you accomplish like doing the mannequin challenge? Do you not breathe? Because I mean, I feel like if you didn't want to see me breathing, I would have to not breathe, like hold my breath.
I think when you see the camera, you stop breathing.
Yeah, probably natural instinct. But yeah, I mean, maybe we could do a mannequin challenge like mass comm department. Good thought. Be on the lookout for our mannequin challenge coming up.
Well, still ahead on Falcon Fever, the NCAA Division II Southeast Region Cross Country Championship was held at Montevallo this weekend. Coming up, see which runner led UM to its third consecutive regional championship.
And we've got highlights from Delta Gamma's Anchor Splash, where the fraternities and sororities went fin to fin for the win. Falcon Fever is next.
Welcome to Falcon Fever. I'm John Wilson with a look at this week's sports. The University of Montevallo's women's cross-country team claimed its third consecutive championship win for the NCAA Division II cross-country regional Saturday. The Falcons won by 6 points on their home course, placing Montevallo number 19 nationally in the NCAA Division II poll. Senior Cheyenne Thompson paced the Falcons as she finished runner-up with a time of 21 minutes, 26.5 seconds in individual standings. Meanwhile, the men's cross-country team registered a program best of 6th place in the Division II championship. The Falcons surpassed their previous best finish of 9th in team standings in 2014. Junior Donnie Barnes led the team by finishing 8th individual standings with a time of 31 minutes, 1.85 seconds. Congrats to both teams on their record-setting finishes. Switching gears to basketball, the men's basketball team traveled to Auburn University Friday in an exhibition game against the Tigers. The Falcons kept a close game with the Tigers in the beginning of the first half, shooting at an impressive 43%. Auburn pulled away in the last few minutes, leading 53-36 to the end of the half. Javonte Douglas scored 22 points during the game, helping UM with their 41% overall in the matchup. The Falcons committed 20 turnovers during the game, helping the Tigers win 96-68. Montevallo will kick off regular season play this Saturday against Carver. Tip-off is at 5 p.m. The women's volleyball team lost their conference match against USC Aiken with a score of 3-1 Saturday night. Their next match will be 6 p.m. tomorrow at Georgia College. And remember, there's more Montevallo athletics coverage throughout the week. MassComm students live stream events on the Montevallo For You YouTube channel. You can also check out more Falcon news by finding Falcon Fever on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That's a look at this week's sports.
Thanks, John. Finally this week, UM's Greek organization made waves at this year's Anchor Splash.
Last Thursday, Delta Gamma hosted the annual fundraiser for their philanthropy service for SIGHT. Fraternities and sororities competed in races like the Dolphin Relay and Save the Mermaid. The team also faced off with synchronized swimming routines. Phi Mu and Fiji won this year's event. Be sure to check out our Facebook page to see more highlights from this year's Anchor Splash.
And that's all the time we have for this week's show. Thank you so much for joining us.
For more UM news from MassComm student reporters, be sure to check out the Falcon News Network blog. The web address is on your screen. Be sure to go vote Tuesday, and we'll see you again next week.